I'm here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and like I said, after getting done with Perpetual Grace Limited, I planned on going back to Patriot. I tried reviewing Patriot a while ago, and I think I reviewed the first episode, and I ended up just reviewing the first season, and I started doing season 2, but honestly, while they're alright, I want to go back and really give it the old college try, and go back and review Patriot the way it deserves to be, at least hopefully the way I feel like I can do it way better than I had. So this time, I didn't take notes really the first time. I still like to be improvisational, but this story, I was like 11 minutes in, and I had like almost a full page of like notes. Look at this, like a script. And I'm having more sound problems. I bought a new mic. Look, a real mic. And I thought maybe that would solve the audio problems, but I think it's the video software. OpenShot Video Editor is what I've been using, and it was fine. And again, it wasn't until I updated my Logitech camera that the audio problems started happening. So I'm trying to figure out if I can get rid of that update somehow, because it's still giving me that. And I don't, I've tried different levels of volume, but anyway, that is not why we're here. We are here to talk about Patriot Season 1, Episode 1. It is called Milwaukee, America, a town I've been to many times. And again, the opening titles, we start off with this is where it started, on Patriot, the cool title sequences. I love the main title credits, the home movies that are basically John and Ed. And then Season 2's credits, though, fucking Season 2's credits are tight. Well, at the beginning, so for, like I said, full spoilers if you've not seen it. And if you haven't seen Patriot, here's your third chance, I guess, that I've reviewed this, so get on it. If you like Perpetual Grace, you're gonna love Patriot. Patriot is amazing. It's got one of my favorite ensemble casts. It's got some of my favorite actors. Michael Dorman as Dornan. Am I saying his name right? As John Tavner, or John Lakeman. Is one of my favorite characters in a long, long time. But this show also gives me, we've got Kurtwood Smith as Leslie Claret. We've got the great Terry O'Quinn as John's dad, Tom Tavner. We've got Chris Conrad from Perpetual Grace. I mean, this is first, man, okay? And he plays friggin' Dennis McLaren, who, I love Dennis. He's so great. We got Gil Bellows as Lawrence LaCroix. Michael Chernus, of course, Michael Chernus as Ed Tavner, John's brother, Tom's other son. And there's a whole bunch of people that end up on the show. Let me tell you guys, you can have, if this is your first time watching Patriot, you're in for some fucking treats. So anyway, we find out, in the opening credits, Knock, a non-official cover officer, an intelligence worker. It makes me think of the first Impossible Mission, or Mission Impossible, Jesus. The Mission Impossible movies where they talk about the knock list. The list is out. Well, a knock list is an intelligence officer who, it says word for word, intelligence work conducted under the assumed identity of private sector employment with limited governmental protection, i.e. oil companies and things like that. And so that's what John's job is. But John's not very happy with his job. So we shoot off to 2012, where he has a very bad interview with this company called Macmillan. It's a piping company. And believe me, you're going to hear words when you watch this show that make you question if you understand the English language. When they talk about piping, it's how do you get into that? And then once you're in, how do you get into that? But John's interview here is clearly of a person who has knowledge or was told knowledge, who read these things down and memorized them. It's very automatically feels like a practice speech where you have the knowledge, or like if you ever cram for a test, right? If you've ever crammed for a test and you just shove everything into your brain, but you had no applied knowledge of what you just said, that's pretty much what John's doing. Like, he has the words right, stand a lick of it. And they can see right through him, especially Kurtwood Smith's Leslie Clare, who has such an amazing, like, backstory when we get to it. Oh my god, his whole arc is so fantastic. But there's another man named Stephen Chu, who is, they call him like the Gil lacrosse and the little Asian guy, who's got the who should have the job. Okay, he knows everything. He was on time, as Leslie likes to point out, and he really just knows the work. Well, John overhears this and realizes, okay, great. So this Stephen Chu guy is my competition. I got to do something about it. So he goes to grill Stephen Chu. Poor, sweet, understands the job Stephen Chu, who is pretty jacked about getting this job. So he's already lost. Like, John's already lost his opportunity to get this job. We don't even, as a new viewer, if you're watching this for the first time, you don't know why. Why is this important? Like, what are we talking about here? We have no point of reference yet. And so when Stephen says that he's going to take the job, and then John proceeds to unceremoniously throw him into traffic, where he's immediately struck by a truck, we are all sitting there with our jaws on the floor going, what? Because it immediately makes you go, okay, I don't think I like our main character. It's not until we go to 9 days prior that we start to understand all the backstory. So there's a helicopter crash in Iran. And on that helicopter are a couple of people that weren't expected to win, but were competing in the Iranian elections. And right now, this is in 2012, there were a lot of problems with nuclear capabilities and things like that. And this election coming up, with those guys dead, the guy that America does not want in power has no competition, really. And so we are introduced here to our Tom Tavner character, played by Mr. Terry O'Quinn, who I love. Don't tell me what I can't do. He wants to get in front of this situation because of this. He wants to get in front of the elections and send his son in to try to get some money in the right hands in Iran. The problem is right now he's recording, John is, folk music to get in touch with his feelings. And so his music, it's getting a little too honest. And it's been shown that he's not like everybody else. And let me tell you, the folk music is some of the best parts of this show. Because John likes to sing his missions and the situations that he's been in through song. And they're very descriptive and very honest and very not the work that an intelligence officer should be telling everyone. Now, ethically, morally, he's doing the right thing probably, but not to the intelligence community. He's kind of he's a liability. Not kind of. But in this song, he tells the story of why he's in such turmoil right now, and that he killed the wrong person. He killed a male maid, and we don't have male maids here in America, or at least where he comes from in Texas. I'm sure there are male maids now, but back in 2012, apparently. I mean, I guess it's still a job that you don't automatically go, oh, hey, guys do that. I'm sure there are, though. He's then caught, arrested, tortured, messed up. He gets really messed up. He's got some PTSD like a motherfucker. And so this has kind of changed how he looks at everything. And now he's writing songs and smoking pot in Amsterdam, which actually sounds like a fucking awesome time, minus the murder. So this is like now we're introduced in succession to Ed Tavner and then Alice Tavner, John's wife. So Ed plays John's brother, uh, who's a congressman, and he's taking a foster friend to a camping trip. You ready to go camping? Well, we can't. Because he gets called in by his dad to get some information from him about his brother. And then Tom goes to Alice, who is John's wife, who's a teacher, and has to tell her that he's not coming home. He's going to be back for a day, but then he's going right back out. And we can tell that this relationship is strained and complicated because, John's a good guy. He's really good at doing intelligence work, but now, because of the things he's seen and witnessed, he may be good, but he's fragile and a liability and really has no business being anywhere near this. And as the story goes on, we start to kind of understand like why Tom is doing this with his sons, and also like why he really shouldn't be. Well, we get the great blame it on grandma story where Ed and John, as children, took their father's home video camera and taped themselves riding a bull, which goes horribly wrong, but also is foreshadowing for what comes up later. And in the video, they are seen saying, well, we'll just blame it on me, Ma. So, wow, this camera is really freaking out. It keeps going black on me. I'm telling you. Grandma, his 92-year-old mother. She was like 92 at the time. Did it happen, or is she 92 now? Either way, she was country strong. And so Ed sticks to his and John's story, and which is very telling, I think, to their father that he is committed to staying close to his brother, not betraying that trust, which is one of the reasons why they're doing this together as a family. Because honestly, in order to get this done, they have to keep it real close to the chest, right? Again, playing into should they really even be doing this right now? But since Ed couldn't take his foster friend, who was really his kid, to this camping trip, he sends him to his grandmother's, who proceeds to read him Mary Poppins. Fine, right? Except she falls asleep, and the kid really believes the story about people who can fly with umbrellas and proceeds to go to the roof and jump off, which gives us a hilarious next scene, which is a hard cut right to the conversation between the young boy's mother and Ed, as she's screaming, "He jumped off the fucking roof! He broke both his feet and ankles!" And while it's terrifying to watch and horrifying to hear about, it's also really funny and just really like, I don't know why. But Ed finally gets to talk to John and says, look, I'm going with you. We got this thing in Luxembourg. He finds him there, wants to bring him back, right? And he's like, well, there's a mechanical bull contest, and I want to go do it. And it can win me $5,000, and I don't really want to go back. But if I lose, I guess I'd consider coming back. It's this whole torn thing between family, honor, duty, and being happy. So he goes to the mechanical bull, contest, and he's like from Texas, and everybody else is from other places, and basically he could win this in his sleep. And also they talk about what his actual mission is, which is to take this bag of money to the right person, and it'll get spread around. Iran, get to the right people that can win the election to keep, Iran getting from the nuclear, capability situation. And it's supposed to be A to B. One of the very most important cornerstones of this show is the A to B principle of how I'm just supposed to take this bag of money, drop it off, end of the story. In season 2, we deal with the jellyfish problem. But in this, it's about A to B. And how it's never that simple. And how A gets fucked up and goes right to a messed up B situation that's like C, D, E, F, G, all the way, all the letters of the alphabet. But to the music of the Clash, John loses the mechanical bull, thinks that he can go home, gets a smile from his brother, gets to go home and see his wife. Unfortunately, there's ice cream truck music blaring outside, and you know what? There are a lot of ice cream trucks in Wisconsin that I remember. I live here in the country now, so I don't hear them very often, but I remember during the summer times, man, those ice cream trucks really got around in Wisconsin. But Tom, Terry O'Quinn walks in on them about to have sex. It's a really funny scene. It's really cute because most people would be horrified, and they are, but like, he plays it off like with his hand signals, like, gonna meet you downstairs, okay? Everything's good. Didn't see anything. Not a thing. A little bit. So, John and Tom both talk, and they understand. It's become clear that this foster kid is really Ed's kid from like a relationship he had with somebody that would be frowned upon by people that voted for him in Texas. Take that as you will, because I don't want to knock what's going on in Texas right now by bringing up racism, but it's racist. But the whole thing is that with Luxembourg, right? That's where they need him to go. Luxembourg is the only country or is it city? I can't remember. Is it Well, whatever. Luxembourg is this place that will work with Iran. Nobody else is willing to. And Macmillan, this piping company, does business in Luxembourg. Hence, he needs to get his cover into this piping company who goes to Luxembourg on trips all the time so that he can get the money to the right person and come home and be done with it all. But, of course, this is where things get already complicated. First is, his apartment is unfurnished, which is really sad looking. We get introduced to Birdbath, who is this cop he's an ex-cop who's now a guard, who's disgraced because he killed a little kid. And that's important because it's a little foreshadowing to introduce his character. But we also find out that they need him to take a pee test. And we all know that just previously he's been smoking a lot of the ganj in Amsterdam and won't pass this test. So he's in the bathroom, kind of pee trolling. Trolling for piss. Where we get introduced to our Dennis McLaren, who is played by Chris Conrad, yay, from Perpetual Grace. He plays Dennis McLaren, who's this, just looks like a regular business guy. There's like a lot more to this guy, he's just a regular Milwaukeean, but he's, once introduced to John's world, it becomes more like, I want to be a part of that world. My life is boring kind of situation. But the initial introduction is very awkward because you have this man who, of course, has this whole bathroom to talk to, to take his whiz, but comes right up next to him, which is already uncomfortable, okay? In bathrooms, us guys, we want to do our business in private. Like everybody does, but I don't know, that's whatever. So he strolls right up to him and he's like, tells him this whole thing. He just lays it out. Look, man, I'm in for this job, but I'm also an intelligence officer. If I pee in this cup, I'm going to fail. And this is about Iran. And Dennis's face as he's listening to this incredible information being given to him by an intelligence officer is probably horrifying, exhilarating. He's running a gamut of emotions until he gets to the part where, look, Dennis, I really need you to pee in this cup for me so that I pass this test. And the whole thing was, stop peeing. I can hear you peeing. The USA needs my pee. Yes. I need your piss so that I can go on with my mission. So he gets the pee. But Birdbath, the guard that we were just introduced to, was in the bathroom the whole time hearing it. We find this out because he drops his nightstick. Um, Now, did he drop his nightstick as an accident, or did he drop his nightstick? Well, I mean, did he? I guess what I'm saying is, I think he dropped it. Did he drop it on accident, just accident, or did he drop it because he was listening and he like whoa and dropped it? Um, but also, um, he doesn't really say anything, but where you can just assume, well, here's just another problem. So A to B is already like D and E. Uh, Ed gets told he's going to be an attaché, which is very much what he likes to hear. He wants to know if he gets a badge. He wants to know if he can create his own badge. And, I mean, they tell him, well, it's weird, but, I mean, I guess it's okay. And that's John's guy tells them that they are flying private, which means in television speak that that's not what's going to happen. Also, that it's not the 1980s. We actually need this bag to get to where it's going. We don't have all the money in the world. So it's kind of like letting us know that the 1980s were full of a lot of corrupted bullshit. That money was just flying all over the place to God knows where. I think it still is, though. And he's... when they talk about Steven being back, no, he's not normal. He got hit by a fucking truck. He sounds like a 6-year-old. But we find out, of course, that he's flying regular. So A to B, remember, now he has to check the bag. So now we're on, like, A to B to... So C would be, God, pushing the guy in front of the truck. There's a lot of it. I think there might be on G by now. So he has to check the bag. And, of course, check the bag means basically bye-bye bag, because he gets to Luxembourg. Somebody opens up, sees all that money, runs off with it. Because, of course. I mean, I don't know what I'd do. I think I'd probably be like, I think I should tell somebody that there's all this money in this bag. And again, my screen is freezing on me. But John goes, no hesitation, knocks out the guard, takes the information, gets the information from another guy, and finds this guy pretty quickly. Because it's like the only numbers on the thing that match up. So he goes in, but he also finds out that there's 5 brothers. Might know jiu-jitsu, that's not a fun fact. And Dennis, who wants to tell him that he was in the ROTC, can be a lot of help, pulls off his shirt, pretty ripped. But he doesn't understand that being ripped has nothing to do with being a good spy. Also, we find out that Gil Bellows' character Lawrence likes Japanese girls for dinner, or maybe to slap them around the back of the legs with a Twizzler. So there's that. And Dennis, unfortunately, can't let go of the desire to be a spy. So John has to stab him in the thigh, which makes him a real jerk. So he gets to... And God, I'm telling you, I'm sorry, but this is just, there's a lot of moving parts here. And I think in my first review, I was like, holy shit. He gets to the place, and again, this is just the first episode, y'all. He gets to the place where he could just smash the door and break in, right? But instead, what he does is, he sneaks in all stealthily. The plan's really good. He gets the bag, but the 5 brothers show up. And they're basically like Brazilian wrestlers. I didn't see any jiu-jitsu. I just saw a lot of wrestling moves. And so they've got him pinned, which leads a cornered animal will be more, deadly. And he pulls out his knife and just starts stabbing until one of the brothers, I think he gets him in the neck. Like, I think he stabbed him like the jugular. So he runs off, takes off. And yeah, now he's already he's on the streets covered in blood, and his brother gets called. When he makes a call, they call for interference. Ed shows up, tells him that my attaché shit is gone, and gets his brother out of there. But he's already late for dinner with Leslie Claret, and he's got blood on his neck. So again, just even more problems have just started, and like I said, we're in episode 1. John this horrible dinner, after Dennis shows him about the blood on his neck, he sings another pretty honest song, and Ed's trying to be supportive, but really, I mean, he keeps trying to get up, like every word is like coming out wrong. And we also find out that there have been no homicides in Luxembourg between 2009 and 2012 until this night. 3 people are killed. So this is a pretty big deal. People don't commit these crimes like they do in other places, like here. And we get introduced to Aliette Ophiam. I don't know if I'm saying that right. She plays Agathe. She's very excited because this unit has a all-female, there's a female homicide unit, basically. You see up in later episodes, and how well that's received by the male counterparts of the Luxembourg police force. It's also, she gets a really interesting conversation with her daughter, talking to her about murder, which is very, a lot of people don't speak frankly to their kids. I like how she does this. But John finally gets the money to the right person. Hey, all right, it's done. It's a double cross. That person is giving the money to the wrong people, and so now they got to get the money back. Ed explains to his father how he's all in and it's about family, which is what his dad wants to hear because a lot of things are coming. Cool Rick, as he likes to call himself, and we'll call your mom, the mom story about how they met and how he's basically trying to break it down to his kid that he's his dad. And again, like Perpetual Grace, this show has a lot of strong family themes, fathers and sons especially, absentee, like things that parents do to their kids or make their kids do, what their kids will do for their parents, acceptance and love and all that stuff. Dennis, meanwhile, warns John that they know about the murders. He read it in a newspaper that he subscribed to while he was there to finish reading the article, and now the Luxembourg detective is coming to America to interview all of them that were there. So, again, even more problems. And Leslie says to John that he might not be coming on the next trip because he blew it so hardcore, which he did. And that Stephen Chu is back. Old Stephen Chu, who can't really talk that well. And then Leslie is mad some more about John because he keeps parking in his fucking parking space. So all the little details in episode 1 have built up to quite the problem already for poor John. And it only gets worse, but very entertaining as we go on. And that's Patriot Season 1, Episode 1, Milwaukee, America. I hope I did a good job at not just recapping it, but covering it and explaining it and telling you what I think about it. I mean, the writing in this show is amazing. And Steve, Conrad, and Gil just knock it out of the park, as always. I mean, you wouldn't know that this was like early work from some really talented people. And they continue to do so, and I can't wait to see more of what they do in the future. If they ever go back to Patriot, or if they make more Perpetual Grace, or whatever they do, I'm all in. And so should you guys be. So, again, if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Otherwise, check out Patriot. If you haven't seen Season 2 and you have seen Season 1, check that out. Definitely check Perpetual Grace out on Epix if you can. Get the free trial, man, if you have to, and you can binge it. I don't recommend binge watching, but most of the time, but you can. And I imagine Perpetual Grace will be showing up on Blu-ray somewhere. In fact, I'm gonna make sure that I get all this stuff on Blu-ray because I like having it on Amazon, but I like being able to have the physical copy. So I think I'll be looking for Patriot on my own. So anyway, we'll be back to do more Patriot sooner rather than later, hopefully. I just want to make sure that I get this first one done, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great day.